Hey everybody, Larry Sorensen here, and today I'm going to talk with Glynn, find out what makes her an autumn athlete that's not done yet. But before I do, remember, if you like our content, like, subscribe, and ding that bell for notifications. Okay, let's get things started. Kay, thank you so much for joining us. Why don't you kick us off with your bio basics?
Okay, well, I'm Glynn. I just had a birthday, so I'm 71 years old. You might want to know that I'm about 5'5", 120 pounds. I was born and raised in Hastings, Iowa. Been married for 51 years to my husband, and we have 3 kids and 8 grandkids. I owned my own dance studio for about 20 years and kept very busy with that. And then I helped my husband towards the end with insurance business before we were both retired about 6 years ago.
Tell us a little bit about your fitness background.
It seems like I've been doing fitness all my life because when I started out when I was 4 years old, I took tap and acrobatic lessons. My parents said I was really quite an active child, so I thoroughly enjoyed that. I practiced it a lot at home just because I did. My mom would say, "Do you want to do the dishes or practice your tap dancing?" So I practiced my tap dancing. But then when I got in older in school, the sports came around. My brother was 3 years older than me, and he was a long jumper, and my dad built a long jump pit in our backyard. And I started running behind him, just thinking, hey, this is great fun. So it was always something fun to do. No one paid any attention to me. And then as I got into, junior high and high school, the coaches helped work with me and tried to develop me as an athlete. And I've always kept up the physical part of my life. I taught dance then for over 20 years. So that kept me in shape. So before I got back into track when I was about 48 years old, it was just going from one thing to another. And the kids were involved with track and field because that's the only thing I knew anything about. And they were going to the Iowa Games, and they said, my daughter said, "Hey, Mom, look out there. There's old people out there. You could do this." And I was 48 years old, and I thought, I could do that. They look like they're having fun down there. So I did it the next year. I was really, really sore. And I decided, well, that was fun, but I never want to be that sore again. And I've been working out ever since then. And it's just been a part of my life, just a routine.
So you mentioned a little bit about dance studio. What kind of dance and where did that take you in life? Because I think it took you to a couple unique places that our audience might be interested in hearing about.
I guess my first really big impression of this could be something important was when I did a talent show at the Iowa State Fair, and I won a car when I was 15 years old doing acrobatics on chairs. And I usually just do tap dancing, and I took acrobatics and ballet. But when I would get bored and I'd be practicing, I could do the things on the floor. So I decided to do them on chairs. Little did I know that I guess that was rather unique. So after I won the car, I thought I need to stick with this because if I quit, I'll never be able to do it again. And over the years, then my daughter, when she was about 16, she also did that same routine. We ended up going and doing it on The View for a talent show on television. And then I've been on Oprah because of that. I was on Letterman, David Letterman. There's still a YouTube video out there. I think it was from 2004 that shows my appearance on there, which was a lot of fun.
When I was at the Kenosha meet, I see you doing a handstand. Obviously, I didn't know about your background at that time, but tell me a little bit about this handstand thing, because what are you doing that in the middle of a track meet for?
Well, I do that at all my track meets. I do it every practice when I warm up. I do cartwheels. I do back bends. That's just the way I warm up. And I really got involved in my handstands when I had trouble with my hips. And they got so bad from arthritis that it was really painful to run to warm up from my events. And I figured out I could do handstands. I could warm up my whole body at one time. And it really seemed to help. So I just stuck with that. And so I do it at all the meets. That's the way I warm up. And it's one of my most fun things I do. I stood on my hands for so long. I used to be able to walk on them. And then I just did handstands. And now I'm deciding I need to walk on them again. So now I'm up to 20 steps. I'm learning how to walk on my hands again.
During all that time of different types of athletic endeavors, did anybody or anything inspire you along that way?
Seeing other people and knowing how good it made me feel was really my biggest inspiration, because as I'm getting older, I didn't realize how important my health would be in that. And my husband even inspires me to get out there. He was a skeet shooter and he knows what it's like to be competitive. And so that just adds something to all those practice days when you think you might not want to do it. And then you think about those people you're going to see on the track next time and you think, I better do it today. So I just think all the people that have come before me inspire me, and even the young ones that you see how much they love it. That's really important to see that too. So if I can be an inspiration to them, that's great. But they all inspire me.
So did you have any setbacks along the way?
Everyone has setbacks along the way, some more than others. I do think that my acrobatic dancing has really, really helped in that respect. And I think that's helped with my injuries. But there were some things. I had a rotator cuff, I think, that came about 15 years ago that had to be replaced. I think I used it a lot in my dancing classes when I was teaching kids, and I was using my arm to flip them over all the time. And I think that's what brought that about. But then a couple of years later, I had my trouble with my hip, and I ended up, I'd been to 6 doctors, and they finally said, you just need to, you have hip arthritis, you need to have your hip replaced, you need to maybe find a new hobby, just go out on top. And they told me that at the Mayo Clinic, and I said, okay, well, that really wasn't what I wanted to hear. So I went home, I talked to a couple track people that had this hip resurfacing done, and it allows you to have the same flexibility as you did before surgery. So that was a big help. I went to South Carolina for that. And in between my 2 hip resurfacing, somehow I tore my ACL just practicing out in the front yard, and doctor fixed that up. And at one point my back was bothering me. I have a little scoliosis from an injury from years ago or something. And I told him, I need to fix this. You need to fix it. And he said, well, you need to keep doing what you're doing. I thought for sure he was going to say, I need to slow down. But no, he said, keep doing what you're doing. I said, but I'm having issues. And I had to tell him about 3 times before he would actually send me to rehab that would work specifically on my back, because I knew all the tricks to do, but I didn't know that one. Right now, I actually have a torn meniscus. And I had that in Kenosha. I got it with something that wasn't really to do with sports. I was lifting a lot back in the late fall, and I don't really know what I'm going to do about that, but I've worked out all the other things in my past. So I'm hoping to get some insight on meniscus injuries, and life goes on.
Tell us all about the major achievements that you've had.
So I will say I graduated in 71. In 79, I was inducted into the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Hall of Fame. I was a long jumper, and my long jump record stood for 30 years. So that's when I realized I'm getting a lot older. I was inducted to the Iowa Senior Games Hall of Fame. More recently, in the USATF area, I've been Athlete of the Year and Jumper of the Year and Combined Athletes of the Year. And last year was inducted to the Hall of Fame. So that was kind of my gold crown on that. I had no idea that turning 70 would actually be a good year for me. But at indoor, I set the world record in the pole vault, the long jump, and the triple jump. I set American records in those, plus the 60-meter hurdles, the indoor pent, and the pending hep from Wisconsin the other day. Outdoor, I have the American record in the short hurdles, the long hurdles, the long jump, the triple jump, the pentathlon, and the decathlon. And I don't know hardly any of my numbers in any of those, because I just go and I do the best I can do that day, and whatever happens, happens. I was totally shocked last winter when I got these indoor records, because I did have an injury in the fall. I didn't even know if I was going to have an indoor season. So to go there and all of a sudden realize that these numbers are really good, I was so excited.
Give us a little insight as to what that entails to do the hep.
The indoor heptathlon, I should remember that since it's been recent. We do the 60-meter dash, the long jump, the shot put, the high jump. And then the second day we do the pole vault, the hurdles, and the 800.
What do you do for a training regimen to get yourself in shape to do these things?
I actually, over the years, have acquired a pole vault pit, which goes in my she shed, and a high jump pit, which is in my she shed. And I have a couple hurdles that'll fit in there. And I really like to work on them every day, but I know that's a lot. But I just, when I was a long jumper in high school, I had long jumped every day. Of course, I didn't do that year round, and I think with the dance, I repeated it all the time, and I did it every day. And it just makes me feel more comfortable. I probably don't put in as long of a pole vault session as other people do, but then I do it every day. So if I do it 15 minutes one day, I know I can go out and do it the next day. So I do spend probably every other day, I do my high jump and my pole vault, maybe hurdles. And then on those off days, I do throws, sprints, cartwheels, handsprings.
Do you do anything from a weight training perspective for strength?
I know I need to do weight training, but I tried it once and I didn't have anyone really to help me. And it's been a few years ago. I don't know anything about it. I was afraid of adding weight too much and getting things out of balance. So I just went lightly at it. And I don't know if it really helped. So my problem is I don't want to take a day and do weights. I'd rather go out and pole vault.
Mhm. It's more fun.
And I use my own body. So I do the push-ups, all the handstands and cartwheels and everything. That's a type of lifting.
Mhm.
And I always know how much I'm lifting. I don't have to worry about that. But I think I incorporate more of my acrobatics into the days that would be done with weight training. Now, someday maybe I'll get around to getting a trainer and they can give me some weightlifting tips, and I'm sure that would help.
A lot of folks, especially folks in their autumn years, might be intimidated by weights, as you are, and you're a world-class athlete. So I think that's a great thing for those folks out there in our audience to know that, you know, you can do a lot with body weight exercises and mobility exercises. You don't necessarily have to go and throw a bunch of iron around. Not that that's bad, of course, but there's a lot that you can do, and you're proof of that without doing that. So that's why I specifically wanted to hear your answer on that, because I think that's pretty inspirational for a lot of folks out there. So tell us a little bit about your approach to diet and nutrition.
Well, let's just say I'm the grandma that eats broccoli. That's what my grandkids have said for years. And I stumbled upon that about 5 or 10 years ago, and I do eat raw broccoli every day. But my basics are that I don't drink any milk products. I don't eat fried foods. I eat meat and fish. I try to eat very small meals and not very much at a time. That's really helps. And sometimes I get busy, I don't get hungry, and I forget to eat, and that messes me up. There's nothing I really don't eat on occasion. I mean, you know, life is life.
Mhm.
I hold my favorite things for my birthdays and maybe eating out once in a while when we have that chicken Alfredo. That's my cheating. And my daily intake, I'm sorry to say, is probably always ends up with dark M&Ms. I think I'm addicted to those, but I do try to not eat anything out of a bag either. I try to put it on my plate so you can watch those portions. I take those M&Ms, I put them in a little shot glass, and I try to stick with one shot glass.
Mhm.
But yeah, I just eat a little bit of everything and not a lot of casseroles and things with sauces. Just eat pure things
Mhm.
like most athletes. I think I feel better that way. And I like to be able to actually push myself away from the table and go to a workout at any point in time. If I've eaten too much or the wrong thing and I get up from the table and I think, oh, I feel full, but not good. I like to feel full, but good. And so I just kind of go by that.
So we're going to talk a little philosophy here for a minute. I'd like to know what motivates you to keep going at age, 71 now.
I think I'm purely motivated now because I know how much better I feel. If I stop now, I'll just fall apart.
Mhm.
I think my doctor's advice to keep doing what I'm doing motivates me. I've got some good numbers out there on the track, so that kind of motivates my practices. And sleep, you got to get your sleep in there with your diet, with your workouts, and it's just become a part of my life. When I was younger, I developed a routine, and I like the routine of that. But I just have to, sometimes I have to put on some really good music to get motivated, and you got to get those shoes on. But once you get out there, I find then I don't really want to quit, and I have to limit myself to how much I work out every day.
So would you have done anything differently throughout your athletic career?
I probably would have gotten a coach earlier. I did get a coach 2 years ago. My mom passed away a year ago at 98. She was very, very healthy, but I was going to Iowa to be with her. We had moved to Missouri. So I was in Missouri with my husband, and I went back and forth a lot, and I ran across this Pony Express in St. Joe and Danny Butterfield. And there was a meet right at the beginning of COVID. And I managed to go to it, and I saw him helping all these kids, and I thought, man, I need some help. And he's telling them things that I knew were correct, and they were responding to him in a good way.
Mhm.
So I said, hey, can you teach me some stuff? So he has, and that's when I realized that I haven't been really working harder. I've just been working smarter. I've been doing it the right way. I've stopped doing it the wrong way for all those years. And he's been real good about coaching me and just giving me the technique that I need to know. It's kind of like a dance. I'm learning a dance when he teaches me the technique. So he doesn't tell me you've got to do this many runs this day, you've got to do this many jumps this day. He doesn't give me the amount, but he gives me the technical part.
Mhm.
And my numbers did improve without a whole lot more work, just doing it right. So I should have done that a few years ago.
Mhm. Do you have what I like to call a secret sauce that you'd like to share with our audience?
I think my only secret sauce is the routine. I practice every day. A lot of people don't, but I just have to have that in my routine. And I think that's something I've been able to do, especially since I've on the farm now and can do most of my workouts here at home. I don't have to travel any place or depend on people to open gyms and things like that. My music might be my secret sauce. I get out there and I start working out and I start doing those handstands, and some music song comes on that I used to have tap dance to. I break out and tap dance, and then when it's over, I go back and pole vault some more. And so you've got to find something you like to do.
So tell us a little bit about what you have planned here in the near future. What events are you going to be participating in?
Going to indoor nationals. I'll do the outdoor nationals. I'll do the outdoor combined events. I will do question mark, Sweden for the Worlds in August. I'll work in a lot of little meets in between there. I like to do practice meets and work on things like that. But and my goal has got to get, it's got to fix this meniscus somehow so that I can get through that whole summer. And I'll have to do a lot of research on that to, I'm sure there's something out there that's going to help me get through that. But basically, when I go to all those, I just do what I can do and hope it's good enough.
Kay, I want to thank you so much for joining us today and telling us what makes you an autumn athlete that's not done yet. I'm going to give you the floor to share any final thoughts with our audience. So the floor is yours.
I guess at this point in time, I would just like to tell everyone that it's not as hard as it might look sometimes. You've got to start out simple. If you've never done anything before, just get those shoes on, wear them out, do a lot of walking. Find out what motivates you. It might be other people that you need to have around you. You might have to join a Y. You don't necessarily have to stick with one thing. You can go from one thing to another. But when you do get to the meets, I will tell you that we're very responsive to everyone, no matter how long you've been doing it or whether you're a newbie. We love to have the company. We love to share our energy with your energy. And it's really all about the health. It all comes down to how healthy you're going to feel and what you're going to do with the rest of your life.
Great words of advice from Kay Glynn. She is definitely an autumn athlete that's not done yet. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and we will see you next time.